I'm Mark Stern, joined by Torie Clarke, author of A Survivor's Guide to Washington, How to Succeed Without Losing Your Soul. Now, Torie, your book addresses many serious topics for aspiring D.C. professionals, but you also definitely include a lot of funny stories, including a run-in of sorts with Senator Al Franken.
I know.
Can you tell us about that?
People, as I've told my friends, it's my first and last run-in with Al Franken, so I'm sure he never wants to see me again. So you do these jobs in Washington, you get asked to do a lot of things, give speeches for free, be on different television shows, news programs, a lot of which you don't want to do. And appearances notwithstanding, I don't like doing them. It just tends to make me uncomfortable. But you get to know people and producers or friends, and anyways, you get suckered into going to New York to tape a show with Tina Brown, New Yorker fame, very, very famous person, very influential in her own right. And originally the call was, just come up and talk to us. We want to talk about the media and working at the Pentagon. All these things, great. Don't really want to do it, but okay. And I had kind of made promises to the producer friend. And then a few days before, they call up and say, hey, we're going to have a journalist on as well. And I go, oh, that's fine. I know the journalist is probably going to be cranky about the embedding program of embedding media with the troops for the Iraq War. But that, again, that's okay. And I'm regretting my decision a little bit more, but okay. And then maybe the day before, they say, hey, we're going to have Al Franken on. He has a new book out. It's going to be great. You guys are going to have a blast. And I said, it is not going to be a blast. I said, Al Franken is very good at everything he does, right? He is a very smart man. He's really good at everything he does. And he has a way of completely filling an entire room, to put it nicely. So if he's on this show, it is his show. And you really don't need me for this. I'm doing anything to get out of it. No, it'll be great. It'll be great. And the producer says, don't worry. Tina will control the whole thing. Tina didn't control nothing. So we get up there. It's a horrible rainy day in New York. I don't like going to New York. I get to the studio. Of course, I'm half an hour, 45 minutes early. Christiane Amanpour, whom I adore and respect, was the journalist guest. She's there early. We're made up. We're ready to go. Shockingly, no Al Franken. And he's not there when we're supposed to start taping. He's not there for another 15 minutes, half an hour, maybe. I might be exaggerating slightly. But probably 45 minutes later, he strolls in, copies of his book, jacket over his shoulder. The crew loves him. All you guys love him. He's high-fiving everybody. I'm just sitting there going, this is going to be such a disaster. And it was. So we start taping the show, and Tina, to her credit, was trying to have a somewhat serious conversation, whatever the topic was. It could have been antelopes. It could have been Iraq. It could have been zebras. Franken has this amazing ability to bring it back to his book. And he would have page references on any topic under the sun. He has completely consumed the whole thing. Christiane is much more polite than I am, right? She's not rolling her eyes. She's just being the incredible professional she was. And I'm just losing it. And I'm not being a professional. And at one point, I finally go, okay, to Tina Brown, are you going to take control of this, or am I going to do it? And nobody did. So another half an hour of Al Franken consuming this time, and as a sign of just how, self-centered I can be. I couldn't believe I had wasted this time, right? Couldn't believe I had wasted my day, schlepped to New York, so angry, and there's nothing you can do. And I'm one of those people who normally takes weeks or months to think of the snappy retort, or the comeback, or how could I have gotten back at this person for hugely inconveniencing me. And I never think of those things in a timely fashion, but I'm stomping out of that studio, the producer's yelling at me, it's gonna be fine, we'll edit it all out. Lies. And I head out of the building, pouring rain, and I think, wow, the heck am I going to get a flippin' cab to get out of here? And this beautiful limo pulls up, and the window comes down, and the driver looks at me, and he goes, Franken? And for a split second, I did nothing. Then I went, yeah. And I hopped in his limo. It was a very nice limo. And the guy says, where are we going? I said, let me make a call. So I called a few of my friends. I'm going to pick you up in half an hour. We went to lunch, we went shopping, and we kept Al's limo for the entire afternoon. And I just hope he was slightly inconvenienced by it. I doubt it, but it made me feel so good.
Well, obviously, you have a great sense of humor. Now tell me, how important is it to have a great sense of humor in what you do, and how difficult is it to maintain it sometimes?
Yeah, I think you have to, right? People in this town work so hard, right? Work so hard, and you often deal with very, very serious issues. You have to have a sense of humor. I don't think you'll survive. And the best working environments I've had are those in which people had a sense of humor and knew to take their work seriously, but not themselves. That's the good side. The downside is if you have an out of control sense of humor, as I do sometimes, it can get you in trouble, right? I am the person who once said Pat Buchanan, noted conservative Pat Buchanan, was going to have to crawl across broken glass on his hands and knees, I believe with his tongue out, before he could speak at the Republican convention when George Bush 41, God bless him, was running for re-election. That gets you into a wee bit of trouble. So timing is everything. And I like to think as I got older, I've gotten better at knowing when to use it and when not to. The Pentagon, obviously, very, very, very serious place. And I knew it myself, but really good friends like Margaret Tutwater called me up before I took that job and said, no matter what, under any circumstances, do you ever let people, when you're standing up at that podium, see or hear your sense of humor? And I think I was pretty good at that.
Some sound advice. That's Torie Clarke, the author of A Survivor's Guide to Washington, How to Succeed Without Losing Your Soul. Thank you, Torie.
Thank you, Mark.